And we're joined by Republican Party Chair, Olmsted County Republican Party Chair, Aaron Miller this morning. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Were you surprised at this Trump visit? I think a lot of people were, but Minnesota hasn't voted Republican for the president since 1972.
Well, I think I was surprised at how late in the campaign that the stop actually came. I was up at his fundraiser in August, and there was talk at that point in time that maybe he or Mike Pence or someone from the campaign was going to maybe come to the state fair or make a few stops prior to this weekend. And a little disappointed that he wasn't here until this weekend, but he did stop by. And I hear that Pence is in Duluth this morning. So.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. And so how much of a difference does that make, do you think?
Well, I think this late in the day, we've already had quite a few folks that have voted early in Minnesota, and there's a large percentage of the ballots that have already been cast in Olmsted County. I don't know how much of a difference it makes. I think that maybe his stop is more telling that Minnesota perhaps is in play. Now, I don't know if they've received some late polling data or late information that maybe says that we're a little closer to 50-50 than we anticipated, but it was exciting to have him here.
So have you heard anything about any of the early polling? I guess no official numbers have come out.
I have not.
Turnout has been good, though. Turnout
has been very good. I've spoken to a couple folks, not only with the county, but also that have voted early, including my wife. And she voted on Saturday, and it took her about 2 hours to get through the line. I heard that Friday, somewhere around 800 or 900 people voted early. So turnout's going to be key for tomorrow, and it sounds like if the pace continues, we'll have some pretty high numbers.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprise deal. It's been 1972 the last time Minnesota voted for a Republican president.
Yeah, and it was interesting because Trump canceled a visit in the Milwaukee area, suburban Milwaukee, came over here instead. Kind of an interesting move. He obviously can tap the western Wisconsin media market, but it almost seems like in terms, because Wisconsin, of course, is considered a swing state. It almost seems like he'd need to beef his support up more in the eastern part of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, he came over here, and analysts are saying that he thinks that he can take it. Obviously, that's what he said to the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I talked with the Democrats afterwards, and they said, well, that their polls show differently, which I guess is not a surprising thing for them to say. As you say, Minnesota hasn't gone for a Republican for a long time in the presidential race. All the indications are that it's not going to be any different this time. But apparently Donald Trump thinks differently.
Yeah, they got Pence is up in Duluth right now.
That's right. And presumably he will try to tamp down some of the remarks that Mr. Trump made yesterday at the rally regarding the Somali community, which has got a lot of people pretty angry, talking about problems with refugees, as he termed it, and noting the large number of Somalis in the state. Needless to say, the Democrats took big issue with that. Ken Martin, the DFL chair, saying that the Somali community is a big asset, and Minnesota has always welcomed people who come here to better their lives. So the Democrats are pretty angry about it.
I just noticed recently there's been no controversy over Twitter, but I guess the campaign has taken away the access of the Twitter account to Trump.
Well, and that's
probably a good idea.
Well, you can kind of understand why they have done that. Whether it's enforceable remains to be seen. But clearly they want to try to get things tamped down as much as possible going into the election and not have any last minute blow-ups. I would assume.
Yeah, but the thing is that it is apparently, according to some polls, at least tightening up in Minnesota.
Oh, I think so, yeah. I think it's tightening up probably all over, and that's not unusual at the end of the election. You see various analyses that show that Trump has further to go to get to the magic 270 number of electoral votes. than Clinton does. A lot of the analyses will say that Clinton is a fair amount closer, but still, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, Trump would certainly, I would think, have a shot at it. In Minnesota, probably not. But then again, let's face it, we're a small player in the whole thing with our 10 electoral votes.
Yeah.
So there's other places that are much more in play, like Florida, as an example, of course, which has a lot bigger influence in the election.
Bill Werner from the Minnesota News Network. Thanks, Bill. It's 8:18 at KROC-AM.